It could be worse. You get to do this and smile through it.
Hey, you are more than you seem. Like, go for the uncomfortability in trying to reach your dreams. There's something scary about that.
Spartans, listen up.
We need to sleep better. So how do you sleep better? Never thought about it before. And so I met Jack, I met Essentia. Pay attention to the mattress you sleep on because it's loaded with chemicals.
Recovery, cooling, and pressure relief, all in one mattress. Up to 60% more deep and REM sleep. Less inflammation, faster bounce back. No toxins, no EMFs, no BS.
My buddy Jack over at Essentia, he's kind enough to give us a code for the Spartan community. That's DECA, that's Tough Mudder, all of us. Use Spartan25, get a discount. Prioritize your sleep so you can sleep faster, you can do more burpees, you can train more, you can get healthier. When you sleep well, you live well.
Joe DeSena here, CEO and founder of Spartan, host of the Hard Way podcast. I got a special one today. I've got my friend Kaitlyn Hernandez. She is active duty Army bomb squad. For those of you not watching and listening, you have to get a look at this woman. She is a supermodel. Does not make any sense to me how she ended up in the bomb squad, but let's talk about that.
When I went away to college, I actually had a recruiter stop me and was like, "Hey, you look like you can do a pull-up." And I was like, "Okay." So I did my pull-up. He, gave me my free t-shirt and he's like, "You're perfect for the military. Sign here." And I was like, "Okay." So I called my mom and was just like, "Hey, Mom, join the military." She was a bit surprised. Came out of nowhere. Because like you said, I showed up in a sundress to get my uniform and it was definitely a little out of my element, but it couldn't have been more aligned with who I was personally. So it worked out.
Why do you think you were aligned with the military personally? Because of growing up in a rough situation?
Yeah, it definitely taught me how to be a selfless servant, taking care of, my little sister through, the harsh environment. Even my mom having to rely on me, probably a little bit, too young with everything she was going through. I just learned to want to give back and just to give myself to something bigger than I was. That's how I've always grown up.
But it was literally like you had no plan of going in the military. You do the pull-ups and you're in?
Yeah, that was it. And honestly, I think what I needed up until that point in my life was some type of drive, direction. I've always been kind of a pit bull, blame it on my upbringing or whatever. But for me, it's always like, how do I channel this? And so to have even just one person, believe that I can do something as, amazing as putting the uniform on, I was like, that was the push I needed.
That's awesome. And you finished university?
I did. Kinesiology was my major. So I love my job. In the beginning, you have 3-4 year contracts, which kind of get you along. And at some point I was just like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So
did you make a mistake when you accidentally checked the box for bomb squad unit? How did that happen?
So originally I was classed as a logistician, which was fine. It just didn't align with my personality. Definitely wanted to seek something more involved. And so I was sitting in class one day and a couple of bomb techs came in and they were like, "If you want to learn how to blow shit up, meet me in the back of the classroom when, class is over." And I was like, I have no idea what EOD is, explosive ordnance disposal, but they're cool and I want to do what they do. So that's how that started.
And you loved it?
I fell in love with it. I would say not initially or through the tryouts. The tryouts were interesting, putting the bomb suit on for the first time and whatnot. But I really fell in love with it, I think, halfway through EOD school, which is down in England, Florida. And every day you drive on to the schoolhouse property, and there's a big memorial. And there's 4 walls to the memorial, one for Army, Navy, Air Force, and the Marines. And on this wall are the names of all the KIA ever within our community. And just driving onto, the compound every day and seeing that wall, just emphasizing why am I here? What's the bigger picture? And that's when it really started to sink in of, being part of something bigger than myself.
So tell everybody, what do you do on a daily basis? you've got to figure out how to disarm a bomb in 27 seconds, or like what do you do?
In the EOD capacity, a lot of what we do is stateside and, so we have CONUS continental United States and OCONUS outside the continental United States. What's nice about our job is that we can do it CONUS, we can do it stateside. So we do work with local PD. We do respond to, suspicious packages, or we get a lot of, World War II ordnance washing up on the shores of Hawaii. So we do respond to stuff like that. OCONUS, we do a lot. We'll do, presidential support, vice presidential support. If the president is traveling, there's an EOD team that accompanies him. And basically our job at that point is find or function. So whatever the president or whoever the foreign dignitary is, VIP, we'll go in, we'll turn on all the lights, we'll open all the drawers, we're in the attic. And at that point, it's just find whatever could be a threat. So that's what we do.
That's cool that you don't have to just wait for deployment. There's stuff going on every day in our land here. When did you first start wearing a bomb suit?
So obviously we had to do a tryout. We had to make sure, we can still function. We had to, do a bunch of burpees and crawling under cars and carrying heavy pieces of ordnance. And then they would ask you things like, okay, what's the square root of 122? And for me, I'd be like, okay, let's relax with the math questions. But so that was really the first time. And, it's interesting because through your training, you realize, the longer that, for one period, if you're in the bomb suit for too long, you start to get, we call it bomb suit dumb. It's eventually what happens when you just have all this weight on you. Your, mind is focused so extremely hard on this, one task. And you don't realize, oh, I've been in this, 85-pound bomb suit for 2 hours. So through training, you start to get more accustomed to that. Your threshold for getting bomb suit dumb starts to, go up. Where was I? I think I was in Hawaii at the time. I was stationed in Hawaii. And my friend Ashley Sorensen, she actually held the bomb suit record before me. Then I get an email saying, hey, is anyone interested in going out for the bomb suit record? Put my name out there. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll give it a go. And I, was messing with Ashley, like, hey, I'm coming for your record. And she was great. She supported me through that. And she was there on race day and whatnot. But what was amazing was I was able to tie the event with something that I really care about, which was funds and awareness for mental health and suicide prevention within the EOD community. So through the buildup, through the advertisements and whatnot, we were able to do a really good thing through that.
That's awesome. So tell us about the event.
So leading up to the event, it definitely wasn't just a let's throw the bomb suit on and get out there and see what happens. I had an amazing support team around me. Everybody from soldiers within my formation to my first sergeant. And my first sergeant actually paced me on game day. If anybody who knows about the military, the commander and the first sergeant, they are like yin and yang. They are like, a partnership. And the way he supported me through that, it was incredible. I had crews of people that just wanted to come out and help me, run my intervals, help me put the bomb suit on, make sure that I had everything that I needed. And, there's a lot of experimenting with how to run in a bomb suit because they're not really supposed to be ran in per se. Anyway. So there was a lot of trial and error leading up to that day. And I remember going in to the event, and my first sergeant and I were talking. His name's John. And he's like, hey, listen, I know you've ran it in practice way faster than, the set world record, but all you have to do is beat it by 1 second. So let's not go out crazy because, if you go out too hot, then the lactic acid builds up and there's no recovering from that in a bomb suit.
So what's next? Like, what's on your mind? Earlier you mentioned the word retirement. Is that anytime soon?
Let's see, 6 years, so not too soon, but to move forward, I'd like to, kind of bring it back to one event that I was able to do. I was with a crew, same mission, raise funds and awareness for mental health and suicide prevention. And through this event, I was actually able to bring my bomb suit and run 1 mile on all 7 continents in 7 days, and that raised, I want to say, like 3.5 million for the
Oh my goodness,
well,
really?
yeah, that was like a whole nother.
Level.
Yes. So from the, world record, it opened up other opportunities for me to give back to the community. We did that. And then coming up in February, we're actually going to go back to Antarctica, do another 1 mile run in a bomb suit, but we're actually going to like the pole, like the furthest you can go. So I'm excited for that. Same principle. We'll be, doing our thing, spreading the good word about, it's okay to talk about our feelings. And so yeah, it's been a wild adventure, but I've been very blessed with how it's all unfolded.
Who came? So you break the record, and then somebody taps you on the shoulder and says, "Hey, why don't you do this on 7 continents?" How did that happen?
There was a Navy SEAL, Ryan Parrott, and he reached out because his idea was, hey, we want to have a group of people run a marathon on 7 continents in 7 days. And then we're going to have another group of people who are going to be doing skydiving on 7 continents in 7 days. And he reached out to me. He's like, why don't you run a bomb suit mile? And so there was actually like 58 of us that went on this wild excursion throughout the world, no sleep, and that was the point. It was to be depleted and all, mentally, emotionally. And then when we were done, we all shared our experiences, like how did we get through that? How were the people running marathons every day getting through that? So that's what we were able to, contribute after that.
And then who came up with Antarctica? How'd this happen?
So we did Antarctica during that trip. And we just barely grazed like getting onto the continent. We showed up. It's so white for as far as you can see. There's nothing there. But we landed, ran the mile. We were there for a couple hours, and we took off. But then White Desert, who's the company that gets us down there, they're just like, hey, there's a mountain that humans have never touched before. How about you guys come back and the same type of cause, and let's run it back. So this time I think we're gonna actually stay on Antarctica. So we're gonna be there for a few days, which should be interesting because it is as cold as you think it is. It is horrible.
You got to write a book. You got to write a book about all this. You got to get people way outside their comfort zone. So basically, you were a little girl out of upstate New York that put on some big boots, and you're getting it done.
I appreciate it when you put it like that. Thank you. Yeah.
No, you're getting it done, and lots of people don't do it. Not because they can't. I don't know if they believe in themselves, and right, like you just made that simple decision at that pull-up bar.
Yeah, when you reflect on stuff like that, it's amazing how just one person believing in you, like I said, and I think if I could be the one person, that voice to somebody else to, hey, you are more than you seem. Like, be that. Go for the uncomfort ability in like trying to reach your dreams. Like there's something scary about that. So.
For those people sitting on the couch, whatever their uneasy is, whatever their heart is, what tips and tricks have you learned in the bomb suit, outside the bomb suit? Like what could we apply to our daily lives that'll help us get through the tough times?
Yeah, it's a good question. Not only getting through the tough times, but like where to start. Where do I start getting uncomfortable? What does that even mean? If you're someone that tends to avoid those uncomfortable or those hard things, like start simple. Start with one little challenge that you can take on, and that's where you build. So whether that's like rucking, rucking sucks, but it's just walking with like a heavy pack, or taking a cold shower for a few minutes. It's just like, okay, what can I do to kind of reset my CNS, my central nervous system, and really start proving to myself that like, oh, I can do that. It's built into the daily decisions that you make, learning to lean into that discomfort. And when you find yourself in those uncomfortable situations, what I tell myself is like, it could be worse. Why are we doing this? It could be worse. Like, you don't have to work out. You get to work out. You don't, have to pursue this, but you get to, you're able to. So just switching your mindset. And one last piece of advice, if it's a physical challenge for me, I fix my face. I tell myself to fix my face. And for me, that means put a smile on. So we could be, trying to run a 1 mile, for time, put a smile on. It's amazing how that switches your mentality in the middle of it.
Yeah, no, you sound like a true Spartan, because that's been our message for decades is it could be worse. You get to do this and smile through it. But how do people find you online?
So my Instagram, that's really the only platform I'm on. Katie.m.Hernandez. Yeah, everything's there.